Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is basically everything you need to help you make a decision when it comes to choosing your fragrance. And I know that may sound completely bizarre to someone who doesn't have a large fragrance collection, but if you're anything like me and the thousands of frag heads out there that have a bit of a collection, even if it's a very small collection, you might only have 5 bottles of fragrance, but many of us have more than 5. I have maybe around 70 bottles of fragrance. And then on top of that, I have samples and I have travel sizes. It's a lot for me, can be a little overwhelming, and sometimes I have trouble choosing what to wear because of that. But I have learned a lesson recently when I set out a group of fragrances that I wanted to empty them because they were almost empty anyway. I forced myself to wear fragrances that were in that little group of perfume bottles, and I learned that I actually really enjoyed wearing them, even though I didn't necessarily feel like wearing that particular fragrance that day. I might have been erring towards something from my normal collection, but having had to sort of making myself wear that particular fragrance helped me to fall back in love with it, helped me to realise I actually really enjoyed that fragrance. I found out things about it that I'd forgotten about, all that kind of thing. I think sometimes we overthink these things, quite frankly. We do overthink it when we are choosing our fragrance, especially if it's a particular event or something that we have to do, whether that's a nice thing or a not so nice thing. We really can find ourselves overthinking it. Also, even just the everyday stuff like going to work or just choosing a fragrance for pottering about the house and maybe going shopping. Even those things, I can stand there looking at my collection and take too long making such a trivial decision. If that's you, this video is for you. Let me know in the comments, do you have these issues? And I've just got some pointers really of things you can do just to help make that process a lot quicker and a lot easier. So this is my fragrance collection. As you can see on the top here, we have all of my Teone Reinthal fragrances. They're all natural perfumes, which you can see by how many I have that I very much love them. And these are my Papillons. They are my SP Parfums, now discontinued, sadly. So my first tip for you is, I've already alluded to it, is to say, don't overthink it. If the thing you're doing that day isn't that big a deal, if you are just shopping, running errands, popping out for lunch, don't overthink it. It's not that big a deal. If you just choose something and wear it, you're probably going to enjoy it. Hopefully you know your fragrances well enough that you're naturally going to pick something that works for the weather and what you're going to be doing. You really don't need to overthink it. Just grab and go and you'll be fine. These are some of my travel sprays. So my next tip for you is, if you have something that requires a little bit more thought, whether it's a doctor's appointment, you don't want to wear something too overwhelming, maybe you have a funeral to go to, you want to not wear something too overpowering and you probably want something that's comforting. Or perhaps it's an important work meeting, job interview, visiting someone special you haven't seen for a while, all of these things. You're going to want to think about it a little bit more. And I would always suggest in that situation that you already pre-plan what you're going to wear. in advance. So don't wait to decide what you're wearing on the day. Make a decision. Think about what you're going to be wearing clothes wise. Think about what the weather's going to be like, whether you're going to be indoors, outdoors, people that you're going to be coming into contact with. Use all of that information to choose your fragrance in advance. Also, I would suggest that you don't use fragrance that you don't know very well. So if you've only worn something once or twice, if you have only been sampling something, now is not the time to be wearing something you're not familiar with, because sometimes these fragrances can surprise you and you can find parts of the wearing of that fragrance that irritate you and don't make you feel your best or your most comfortable. So I would say when it comes to anything that matters to you event-wise, then choose something you are confident to wear. Another tip that I have for you is when you have recurring events, certain things that you always do, one of those obvious things might be going to work, but maybe you are someone who lives a completely different lifestyle to me. Maybe you have to go to formal events several times a month. If that's the case, whatever those recurring events are, I would have a trusted group of fragrances that you can rely on to wear to those events. So for example, if you're an office worker and 5 days a week you go to the office, then have a little selection of fragrances that to you feel perfect for the office, that make you feel that you smell good but you're not overpowering, that are clean, appropriate, etc. Of course, if you work in a more manual or maybe you work in a smelly environment, maybe you work in maybe you work with plant, maybe you dig up roads. Whatever you do, choose the fragrances that work for you in that environment, and just have this little grouping of fragrances that to you are work fragrances. That's not to say you can't wear your work fragrances on a night out, and you can't wear, sometimes you might want to test out something a little bit different at work. That's fine, of course, but it's nice to just know these are my work safe fragrances. So in the morning, especially now it's horrible, in those dark cold mornings when getting out of bed is hell on earth, you don't have to spend 5 minutes choosing a fragrance. You just pick one and go. Pick the one from your little selection and go. And I just think that makes life a whole lot easier. So with that being said, I thought I would give you some events / occasions, scenarios that I would choose particular fragrances for and why, just to help you see my thinking behind it. So the first scenario that I have is a doctor's appointment. It's something that I always think about. I don't want a big, strong fragrance. I don't want to come across like I'm trying to pull the doctor, although more often than not I see a female anyway, but that's not to say she might not think I'm interested. But I guess you don't want to just wear a big strong fragrance in an intimate setting. It's just going to seem inappropriate to wear like a clubbing type fragrance, a big loud like an Alien or something, to a doctor's appointment. That's not to say you shouldn't do it. I'm not going to judge you if you do, but me personally, I like to wear more of a skin scent, something that is more subtle, that doesn't smell like I'm going out on a big night out. There's nothing weird or animalic or unpleasant about it. And so I would choose this one here. This is Lancôme and it's peut-être, and it's a lovely powdery musky iris rose scent. It's really pretty, there's nothing challenging, it's not too strong, and I just think it's completely appropriate really for any setting that's a little more intimate, and perhaps where you don't want to smell like you're trying too hard. It would also work great if you work with children or vulnerable people, and would work as a versatile everyday scent for you know, anyone at work, whatever, but specifically if I was going to the doctors, this is one I'm more likely to choose. And because I know that in my head, I don't have to think about that in advance, or, you know, on the day. I know there's only a couple of fragrances in my collection I'd actually wear to the doctors. Other things I would wear to the doctors would be my Insolence, which is another musky, powdery floral, discontinued. I might wear a citrusy cologne that's quite light. I would probably wear my Chanel Les Eaux Deauville, and also the Bay Ritz, but that's a really good one for the doctors. So if I had a really special event, big night out, anything where I want to smell really, really good and really confident that I smell amazing, I would choose Hira from Papillon Perfumery, because this is, to me, it's the epitome of a really high quality floral chypre-esque kind of fragrance. It always makes me feel so well put together. Has a beautiful blend of white florals, iris, I think there's a bit of rose in there, but I get more on the white florals, and then a powderiness, a muskiness. The dry down is just leans a little on the chypre side, so there's a little bit of oak moss, I think there's some labdanum, it goes a bit powdery, but there's also some more sort of, there's a tiny bit of an amber note mixed in as well. So it's warm, and I do find it a little comforting in the dry down, but it's very, the opening is bright and fun and vibrant, so it's perfect for an event. And I just, because I know it's made of such beautiful high quality materials, it's such an amazing fragrance that it's perfect for me to wear to any special events. So that is Hira. Plus you also need to think about the performance. The performance on Hira is outstanding. I'd probably get more than 12 hours out of it, so that's obviously something you're going to factor into your events as well. And I know that will see me all the way through the entire event. If I was going to a Christmas market, I would think about wearing this one here, Serge Luton's Fils de Joie. So this is a jasmine perfume that always smells to me like it's a mixture of jasmine and rose. It smells incensey, it's jammy, it's a little bit rich and cozy, also a bit gothicy at the same time. I just think that lends itself to the outdoors because it's quite a strong perfume, lends itself to the cold as well, and also just feels a little festive. So I would definitely wear this one to a Christmas market, but any kind of outdoorsy event in the colder weather, it's perfect for. So that's my thinking behind choosing Fils de Joie. Now if I just had to quickly choose a mass appealing fragrance because I'm heading out for meeting friends for lunch, maybe I just am in a rush and I haven't pre-thought out what I'm wearing, and I know I want to wear something that is pretty attractive, mass appealing, works day or night, then the one that I often go for is Coco Mademoiselle, and it's the Eau de Parfum Intense. So it's the intense version. It's less vibrant, it's not as loud as the Eau de Parfum, and it's a bit cozier and sweeter in the dry down. So it's not quite so sharp, and it's cozier. It's not a big loud perfume, it's just right for pretty much anything. So this one is my go-to for if I haven't really thought about it, but I can pretty much wear this anywhere. The only time I wouldn't wear it is something like the doctors, or one spray maybe would be okay for the doctors, but I probably wouldn't. But generally speaking, most situations and occasions I would choose this for. I personally would wear it to work because at work is very low, there's no rules. There's no rules. You have to go to work, I mean that's a rule, but I think if I had a more stricter environment I might not wear it to work. It's a little bit flirtatious element to the scent, so it's not necessarily perfect for every occasion, but if it's more of a social thing, this is a no-brainer. I would, even if I had a last minute date, I'd grab and go with this one as well, and I'd use the matching oil and body lotion as well. And then my final one is a job interview, and that is my 31 Rue Cambon from Chanel. So another Chanel here. For a job interview, the safest option for a job interview is no perfume, let's be real. You've always got that risk of putting the people off just because of how you smell, so you just go hygienic, go clean. You could maybe wear a scented body lotion, that's probably the best thing to do for a job interview, but for me I always want to wear perfume, and I'm going to wear perfume. And I think the 31 Rue Cambon, I would limit my sprays, 2 sprays only. It's quite strong fragrance, but it's in a way it's similar to Hera, but it's not quite as vibrant with the florals. This one's an ylang ylang and iris with a little bit of a chypre-esque dry down as well. So it's like Hera, but it's not as outgoing and vibrant. Less floral, I suppose. It's still quite floral, but I think to me it feels professional. This is a very versatile fragrance. I would also wear this in many different occasions, and I love it. But I think for a job interview, I feel like it stands out a little bit, so I'm not smelling like everyone else. It smells really good, really high quality, but professional and clean. There's nothing challenging. It's approachable. It could smell a bit try hard if you did do too many sprays, but I think, as I say, a couple of sprays and you're good to go, and not really sort of choke out the room. So that to me, with a really nice smart suit and crisp white shirt, I think is such a great option. And I think I say that because it does have something of a crisp white shirt feel about it as well, even though it's not just a basic musk or sort of laundry scent. It feels like it has an element of that as well. So yeah, a perfect interview scent. So those are my tips on how to choose a fragrance. If you have a few to choose from, how to go about making that selection. I hope they've been useful, and I would love it if you have any tips yourself that you could share in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a like. If you're not subscribed, give me a subscribe. I would love that. That would be very kind of you. I'll see you hopefully in another video. Bye.